Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Many blessings, love, and light being sent to you wherever you are in this beautiful blue dot. I really appreciate it. Here we are on the Sophia Gaia wonderful planet Earth. Let me know where you are down below as far as where you hail from on this beautiful existence. I really love to hear that. My name is Wendy Morgan, and I'm a spiritual mentor. I help you basically traverse through this particular time of ascension, helping you find not quicker, but helping you move and transcend through this particular space, and also have my finger on the pulse of what is here and what is coming. I just had a few other videos of what we just transcended through last Sunday. Today is March the 4th, so it kind of gives you indication when that happened. And today, though, we're going to have a really short video. It was kind of touched on in other videos, but we're going to talk about ego. So we're in a time and place right now where we're letting go of our ego. We're letting our ego know you're okay, you're safe, you're fine. Our ego was set up to keep us safe. And believe it or not, our ego learns what the parameters are that keep us safe. Whether the parameters are to keep you emotionally safe, mentally safe, or physically safe, we learn from it. Our ego is kind of like that alternative self that's within the mind, the human mind, emotion, and mental body and physical body. And it was here for a good reason while we were in third dimension. And yes, we're not in third dimension anymore, but it was really it was necessary to have when we were in third dimension, but we're not there anymore. And so now it's kind of running a program that we believe we have an ego, we are ego, is still running so strong and having so much momentum that it's time to go ahead and start deconstructing that program, because we need to. So our ego, however, will not be ready to let go unless it feels like. So right now, what a lot of people are running into is having a resistance, and that resistance is the ego not wanting to let go of control. Because if it lets go in control, then we might find ourselves in hot water. We might find ourselves in a very, very damaging, a very threatening situation. And our ego is meant to keep us alive to an extent. And so, but it also gets in our way. I mean, we've learned that through our third dimensional experience. But nevertheless, that was then, this is now. So we need to let the ego know that it's okay. We can trust our higher self and soul, because that's still part of us, but we're just incorporating more of ourselves as the ego kind of takes the back seat. So how do you know? So if you're already a light worker, or someone who already works from your heart, chances are you're going to say, I really don't have much of an ego in comparison to those type of individuals that perhaps are like standing up with a lot of chutzpah, like, I know I shouldn't use an accent. Sorry, I apologize. I know what I talk about, and I know the best of what I'm doing, and I have a degree. We would say, yes, he has a really strong ego, right? And you may not have that forefront energy of telling people, this is me, and I know what I'm talking about. Understandably so. I get that. But the ego, nevertheless, I guarantee you, is still there, just maybe a little quieter in the background. Just 2 weeks ago, I had that space of my ego not wanting to relinquish control, because it was afraid that it would not be in control. It was afraid of what we're moving into, because what we're moving into, we don't know. Our brain doesn't know. We've not, it's not like we turn on the TV and go, this is what fifth dimension looks like. Don't worry. This is how it's going to feel. We cannot even perceive what fifth dimension feels like, even though I did have a glimpse today, and I'm going to share a little bit later. But our brains cannot conceptually understand it, because it doesn't, because our brain only can vibrate through different types of frequencies. And so, because we only can take in a certain amount of frequency. In truth, we take in 15 billion bits of information, but our brain only registers 50,000. Those are not the right numbers, but you kind of get my picture. And because it only brings in the amount which says, this is what you really need to see and know that makes you have a healthy, happy life. And so the ego is still a part of that, just the same. And because we don't know where we're going, the ego goes, oh, no, pull back. Shh, you don't want to go there. Don't go there, because that might be really scary, and we don't know what's going to be there. So it really tries to protect you. God bless its little heart, but it's actually creating a resistance to your growth. So really start to be aware of the ego where it comes up. And what you do is you can use muscle testing to ask programming. You can muscle testing if your ego's in force. But I guarantee you, whatever you're moving through, if you're starting asking questions to your experience with spirit, that is your ego asking questions, not you, your soul, your divine being and presence of who you are. So if you're in your meditation and you see certain shapes and or people showing up, and you're trying to make sense of what did that mean, I want to understand what that means, and I get it, right? Because at one point in our life that was important for us to understand the meaning, so therefore we can apply it. But that was third dimension, guys. We're not in third anymore. But it's not necessary now. It's actually creating a hindrance. So if you go, okay, so thank you for those symbols. What does that symbol mean? You know, the other day I was given a symbol, and it was, God, I'm not going to think of the name of it. I don't think I have, no, I don't have it in front of me. It was basically an eye, and it had a Merkaba on the outside of it. And then it had, it was, what do you call it? Mandibra? No. It's basically where two circles overlap. So where they overlapped looks like an eye, shape of an eye, and then an eyeball in the center. And I don't remember. That's supposedly like the window to the soul. And so immediately I drew it, and then I looked into all the meaning behind it. And as soon as I was looking through the meaning behind it, I caught myself going, you are bringing this down into a lower vibration because you're trying to label it, put it in a box as to what exactly its meaning is, according to your understanding as a third dimensional being. And that was my ego asking those questions. If I let it go, which I did, I turned around and let it go. It is a symbol, whatever it is, it's being worked with me. I don't know exactly what it's doing. I don't need to know what it's doing. I'm just going to let it do what it needs to do to enfold and to uplift and to program or to upgrade, to open up, whatever it needs to do. Just allow it to do it versus trying to ask questions, because when you do so, you're bringing the energy down versus letting it be at high vibration. And you're also putting it in a box into a construct where once you put it in a box of understanding, so if I put understanding of this symbol meant that this was the eye of my soul. So this was my soul looking through or in the center of the way of travel through energy of our space-time continuum. I just went ahead and limited it to whatever else it could be, right? Which can be so much more in so many other different dimensions. So don't try to label it. Don't try to understand it. You're bringing that vibration down and you're limiting it. You're creating resistance of what it could be. So really work on not asking questions. Really work on allowing and being, and witnessing and observing and experiencing your trek, experiencing what you're moving through. Today I went through a beautiful session with a friend, and the energy, which I'll share with you a little bit of a, what do they call it? Dang it. I can't think of the word where you learn a little part of something and you're like, no, don't tell me that. I don't remember the name of it. But I was told a line today from Spirit that they're in the next phase in which we are going to be experiencing, in that of what we consider fifth dimension, but I don't even want to use those words, but our next phase of beingness, that there is no questions. There is, in the new space, there is only creative energy. There are no questions. It's only creative energy. It's it. It's creative energy. It's all we're doing. You're creating back and forth, giving ideas, receiving ideas, giving ideas, giving love, receiving appreciation. There is no questions because we're already in that space of knowingness. Questions come from the space of ego wanting to know what's going on, who it is, what does this mean? Because that way it can own it, and that way it can kind of pull it into the body to go, okay, now I know what to expect for this month because I'm gonna put on my armor. I know what's gonna go on, right? Or I can go ahead and put on my wings and I'm getting ready to fly. We love to know what to expect, right? And therefore, prepare ourselves. And that's kind of like the ego's job. And, and I'm saying my ego is very well intact because I'm going to share with you a little bit later of what I experienced today in the fifth dimension. And again, I'm, sharing it with you on the level of the ego because the ego pulled this information in and now it's handing it off to you. So this is a little bit things of which you can expect. But of course, I'm not being shown everything. But nevertheless, it's still part of us. But you still want to be aware of it, that you are in control of it. You're aware of when the ego shows its face and raises its head versus you just simply going ahead and constantly being controlled by the ego. Because even us most very spiritual masters, not saying I'm a master, getting there, not yet, but for spiritual people that are in white lighters or healers or whatever you want to call it, we too learn, oh my gosh, my ego is preventing me from doing this. I'm not moving forward here. That's because my ego says, no, I'm not going to do it. So everybody has an ego. And anybody who doesn't say they have ego, I say, bullshit. And I think everybody does if they didn't have one, then they probably already ascended into fifth. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. So this is a time of really getting your hand on your ego and really trying to calm it down. You don't want to take a samurai sword and cut it. You don't want to burn it. That would be too demonstrative. You want to be loving and gentle and just constantly soothing it. It's okay. Here, I want you to befriend my friend soul. Soul, this is ego. Ego, you're going to be okay. That sort of thing. And just really work on calming the ego down so it knows it's okay. You're okay. Because that's all it really wants to know is you're okay. Right? You're okay. And the more you get into the space of observing, witnessing, and experiencing, that you're in that space of surrender where you're just flowing and just experiencing the beautiful energies around you, ego doesn't show up because you're already engaged in that new space. Isn't that pretty? So check out my other videos. I got a couple others up there. Talking about what we just moved through a couple weeks as far as going into fourth dimension and all that we need to learn while we're in fourth dimension. And I think I'm going to do a meditation. I also have a new meditation as far as walking through and grounding to the new 5-dimensional earth and pulling down energies. I also did a video about muscle testing, and also how clearing particular programs, a really quick technique of clearing. And then I'm going to do one more as far as the energy that we're moving into as far as fifth dimension, which is really, really beautiful. Anyways, I love you guys, and I hope you have a good night. Give me a comment below. Let me know if this was helpful.